na itong ayuda na to, matagal na to sa ginagawa ng gobyerno. We're just trying to improve that. This time, we are not saying that the AKAP is perfect. There's going to be a room for adjustment. That's why we are trying to really improve the services to the people para po madama nila na ang gobyerno po ay working for them. Yung sinasabi po natin na kaya kailangan itong ayuda dahil it goes directly to the pocket of the people eh. And then it will strengthen the purchasing power of these individuals, itong mga taong to as part of the yung consumer, no, that would in effect it will contribute, no, positively to the local economy, which in effect is good.
Opo, and speaking of pagtulong lang sa ating mga kababayan, pinalawak kasi ng PhilHealth yung kanilang benefit packages sa ating mga kababayan. Specifically, sinali na rin sa benefit packages yung outpatient emergency care at tinaasan pa yung case rate packages para sa critical illnesses. Ito rin yung sa PhilHealth po kasi matagal na rin nananawagan yung Kamara dito nga sa PhilHealth. Ano pong masasabi nyo rito sa expanded coverage po na ito?
During our hearing, nandun naman po, you were all present during our hearing. Ito po yung mga part ng mga privilege speech, part po ng mga tanong during our hearing, yung nandun po ang PhilHealth na kasama natin. At wino-welcome po natin tong development na to kasi nakita po natin yung, sabi nyo nga, yung expansion na yan. Kailangan po talaga ng mga beneficiaries ng PhilHealth saka mga members po niyan. Sabi ko nga, kung ikukumpara mo dati, parang bulk talaga ng expenses na shoulder nung medical assistance program. Pero with that expansion, kumbaga, ito po talaga yung trabaho nila. We've been waiting for this. We've been telling the people na ito po ang kailangan ng taong bayan mula sa PhilHealth. And wino-welcome po natin at maganda po na development yan for PhilHealth.
And sorry, yes po.
Well, it validates our yung initial position po ng House of Representatives na that's the reason why we held a series of committee hearings precisely because we want to find out kung ano pa yung plano ng PhilHealth, how they would utilize their funds. Natatandaan mo nung una, binatikos tayo dito dahil sinasabi tinatanggalan daw ng assistance, medical assistance, kung ano man yung binibigay ng PhilHealth sa ating mga kababayan. This only proves what we were saying all along na may pondo ang PhilHealth and they kailangan lang talaga nilang i-maximize kung ano yung pwedeng ma-reach at ma-improve yung kanilang programa. And right now, nakita natin under this new CEO, President ng PhilHealth, kaya naman pala mag-expand. At tama pala yung sinasabi ng Kongreso na kailangan nilang gastusin yung kanilang pera dahil sobrang laki and they just have to put that in the right perspective, in right programs. So it validates our position that PhilHealth has the money and they need to expand more. They need to navigate more on how they would provide healthcare services to the people, especially to the direct contributors.
Opo, and last na po, tinawag ng Malacanang si former President Rodrigo Duterte na one-man fake news factory when he said that President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is becoming a dictator. Ano lang po yung masasabi niyo po rito?
Well, ako dun sa statement, ang hirap po talaga eh. Parang I'm leaning towards that statement na parang factory sila ng fake news. Pati yung mga data nila, pati yung mga rally nila para talagang parang ang tawag dito, parang literally factory ng fake news kung baga. Tapos pag hinold sila accountable ng tao, kakambyo naman sila na joke lang daw yun. Parang nagmumukha tuloy silang joke eh. So ewan ko, parang ano bang tawag mo doon sa hari na father faker? Father ng mga fake news, ganun, mother faker. Hindi ko alam kung paano tatawag natin sa kanila. Father faker, mother faker, o anong tawag sa mga anak nila? Fakerist? Ganun? Oo, para mga, ganun yung dating nila, para mga super villains. Ewan ko ba? Ano nakukuha nila sa pag-imbento ng fake news saka paninira sa lalong-lalo na sa House of Representatives. Parang ngayon kasi nakikita nyo napaka-aktibo ng administrasyon, katuwang ang House of Representatives. Ang dami nating naibababang tulong sa tao, ang dami nating solusyon na nagagawa. Yung mga problema natin na nandyan, ang target natin mahanapan ng solusyon. Pero bawat galaw sa bawat pagtulong sa taong bayan, pagbigay ng positive na response sa katulong, gagawa na naman nila ng fake news, saka mag-iimbento na naman sila ng hindi totoo na mga sitwasyon. So, ewan ko ba, parang faker, hater, parang gano'n yung mga dating nila. Mga ang tawag doon? Bad vibes. Di ba?
Ako, wala akong nakikitang indikasyon or karakteristik ang Pangulong Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos na masasabi kong leaning towards dictatorship. Diktador ba yung minumura ka? Ang tatay mo sinasabi kung ano-ano tatanggalin, i-exhume, tapos itatapon sa West Philippine Sea. Itathreaten ang buhay mo, itathreaten ang wife mo, itathreaten ang Speaker of the House, ang nagkapinsan mo. Tapos every time nagkakaroon sila ng rally, ang pinakapunto nila isirain yung isang pagkatao. Hindi lang yung polisiya, pero yung pagkatao ng isang individual tulad ni President Bongbong Marcos. Tapos wala siyang ginagawa directly. He has all the power at his disposal and yet he has doing nothing. In fact, ang mga response niya is so diplomatic. Characteristic ba yun ng isang diktador? I don't think so. Pangalawa, itong ginagawa ng administrasyong ito, he respects the separation of powers. He does not even want, maraming mga legal opinion na sinasabi, President, you request the Senate to convene for an emergency session. He did not do that because he respects the separation of powers. He allows all the agencies to work according to its mandates. That's not an indication, or that's not even an attribute of a dictator. Di ba? Wala naman ho sa administrasyon niya na may nakaupong citizen na Chief Justice na nakuwaranto o kinasuhan. Wala ho sa administrasyon niya na may sitting senador na kinasuhan at pinakulong. So there's no indication to me, mag-midterm na po ang kanyang administrasyon. Wala pong indikasyon na nagsasabing, hindi nga ho siya vindictive eh. In fact, hindi ho siya vindictive. Kung sa ibang leader po yon, mumurahin ka, tapos kung ano-ano ipagsasabihin sa yumao mong tatay. I mean, it's a human nature to really retaliate and get even. Wala ho siyang ginawa. Wala ko siyang sinabi na in a way na insultuhin niya yung nagsasabi or yung nagte-threaten sa kanya. Wala. So, it's far from it. So, I don't see any iota of him becoming a dictator. It's actually the opposite.
Just a quick add-on po na, sa mga recent presidents ng bansa natin, I could easily say na si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos yata yung isa sa pinakamabait na eh. It's very far from being a dictator. With all due respect to the people who are saying na dictator si President Bongbong, nakakalungkot kasi na, tayong mga Pilipino, we are attacking yung kapwa Pilipino natin. For what? Oh, let's stop for a minute and think about it. Bakit ba sinasabi ng ibang tao na diktador si Pangulong Bongbong? Dahil ba may basihan o dahil ba may interes ng paninira sa kapwa? In reality, ang kalaban nating mga Pilipino nasa labas ng bansa natin. We should look outside our borders who are trying to bully us. Yung mga ibang bansa na nagsasamantala sa atin, and people and Filipinos who who support these other countries bullying us, yun yung dapat nating may masasabi tayo sa kanila. But President Bongbong Marcos has done nothing but help the Filipino people and help the interest of our country.
Thank you, Mela. From Radio Pilipinas, you're recognized, Kat Forbes, for your questions.
Good morning po. Itanong ko lang po sana yung reaction po ninyo na recently po naging very active si CIDG Chief Nicanor Torre, Nicolas Torre. Una, yung pag-file po niya na reklamo laban sa isang Cebu-based vlogger na nagpakalat ng maling impormasyon na siya daw ay na-ospital. At pangalawa po yung kanya rin pong maigting po no, na kanyang pag-file din po ng kaso laban kay former President Duterte. Doon naman po sa pag-threat niya sa mga senador na sinasabi niya ipapasabugin. Ano po ang inyong reaksyon dito?
Karapatan po niya yun. Karapatan po ni General Torre yun. Sabi ko nga, kung ako rin siguro yung nasa lugar niya at sinabing nasa ospital ako, na may mga possible threats sa family ko, ay hindi ako magdadalawang isip na gawin din yung ginawa niya. Kasi they're stepping over lines of ethics and morality itong mga tao na to. Nakakalungkot na may mga bayaran na tao na ganyan. At para silang mga walang sariling pamilya at they're willing to go to miles of desperation para lang makasira ng ibang tao. So, kung ako rin nasa lugar niya, malamang ganun din ang ginawa ko.
Just to add on, I think General Torres just being proactive in doing his job. We would want our law enforcement heads to, be proactive. So, kudos to General Torres.
Saka personal attack yung ginawa nila sa kanya. Hindi lang naman because of his work. Talagang personal na masyado yun.
Ako, I would support General Torre sa ginawa niya. Let's test the law. Let's allow the courts to do its to work according to its according doon sa dapat na gawin. Kasi instead na magbangayan tayo sa social media, meron talagang legal means na po pwede nating gamitin para labanan itong mga fake news na ito. Lalong-lalo na pag ang mga balita ay nagsasabing kumbaga it's causing damage credibility-wise to the person. So I commend and I support General Torre for for showing us and displaying to the world, to the Filipino, that no one is above the law and we are governed by laws. There are courts that have to work on cases that demeans and discredit and defame the credibility, attacking the reputation of individual na hindi naman tama at hindi naman totoo. Pangalawa, isa po ito din doon sa sinasabi nating may freedom of expression but it is subject to limits. May cyber libel, may libel po na kaso. So, panawagan, malaking panawagan din ito doon sa mga peddlers ng fake news. Huwag ho natin gagamitin yung wrong interpretation of the freedom of expression or speech na to a point na hindi na natin alam kung ano yung dapat anong nakakasira at anong nakakabuti sa mga sinasabi natin.
Thank you, Kat. Next questions will come from Earl Tobias of IBC 13.
Good morning, Kongs. Sundan ko lang po yung tanong ni Ate Mela concerning FPRRD statement pa rin po. Yung pag-i-impeach daw po kay VP Sara Duterte ay isang political move dahil kung hindi daw bababa, pumupusta raw po si dating Pangulong Duterte na magma-martial law si Pangulong Marcos para hindi siya mapalitan na sa presidente, at yung pag-i-impeach daw kay VP Sara isa na ring hakbang para pilayan daw yung kanyang anak sa pagtakbo sa 2028 elections. Reactions po.
Yung sa pagdeklara ng martial law, fake news po ulit. Hello, fake news, Mr. Fake News. Pero, puro fake news na lang lumalabas sa bunganga nyo, palitan nyo naman. Yun naman po yung sa impeachment, nakita pa naman po natin yan lahat during the Quadcom, during the budget hearing sa local government. Hindi pa nga po nasasagot si Mary Grace Piatos. Sagutin na muna nila yon. O yan, may impeachment na. Kaya nga umabot sa punto na ganyan kasi hindi nga masagot yung napakasimpleng tanong, sino ba si Mary Grace Piatos? Saan napunta yung mga pera na yan? Kaya wag muna kayo mag-fake news.
But the former president is open naman eh. I mean, not really open. He's entitled naman to have his own opinion eh. Lahat naman tayo mayroong sariling interpretasyon sa lahat ng bagay na yon. Of course, you cannot discount the fact that the vice president is his daughter. So talagang sasabihin niya yun whatever is possible, whatever reasons that he may think behind itong impeachment. But the impeachment, if we go to the merits of the case, 215 complainants, members of this House, said that the VP deserves a day in court. Yung mga kaso naman po niya, it's not really connected with her partisanship or which party she belonged to. These are brought about by the allegations and violations and of the joint circular when it comes to the utilization of the confidential funds. One of the articles of impeachment is brought about by the threats that she made publicly against the president, against the first lady, and the speaker of the House, threatening their lives. So we should not divert from those the real issues at hand. No? Yun po yung focus ng impeachment na ito. Politika, darating naman yan sa mga eleksyon. There are ways para resolbahin ang politika, but this is already something beyond politics. This is about holding public official accountable to their actions.
Thank you, Kongs. Follow-up lang po. Nasabi nyo nga po kanina na parang tuwing rally na lang may focus na sinisira na lang ulit yung mga ilang politiko. Umabot na po ba sa punto na parang concerning o nakaka-alarma na rin? Kasi parang may pattern na next rally po ba, ganito rin ulit yung magiging narrative?
Sinong naninira?
Yung concerning FERRD statement pa rin po. Kasi last week, meron yung na-file nga ni General Torre na sedition kasi yung threat sa senador. Ngayon naman, towards the administration, may nakikita na po ba tayong pattern na tingin nyo po alarming na with their campaign?
I'm sure it will intensify sa kampanya kasi nga po ang contenders lang naman dun sa grupo nila is parang isa, dalawa. Yung iba, yung mga bira ng bira sa presidente, sa House of Representatives, sila yung mga number 50, number 40. Kumbaga sinasakyan nila yung kasikatan ng presidente sa kanang nagagawa niya eh. Parang wala lang, sumasakay sila, naninira sila. Hindi naman sila umaangat sa survey. Feeling ko nga pag tumakbo ko, baka mas mataas pa ako sa kanila eh. Parang feeling ko masikat ako ng konti sa kanila. Kasi lagi na lang nilang ginagamit. Naghahanap sila ng ibabato sa house. Sinasakyan nila yung kasikatan. Kasi sumisikat ka pag gumagawa ka ng magagandang bagay. Hindi yung mga hindi magagandang bagay. Hindi kasi sikat doon. Siyempre, sasakyan nila. Ang daming achievements, ang daming ginagawa, ang daming solusyon na napoprovide. Ito namang mga nasa dulo ng mga tumatakbong senador, kung ano-ano na lang ini-issue para lang, siyempre, mag-grab sila ng media mileage, di ba? Di ba, sasakyan natin to para, sumikat tayo. Ang problema puro paninira naman. Plataforma kaya ilatag nila at hindi paninira. Tignan natin, baka umangat ng konti sa survey, mas maganda. Kasi ang tao, naghahanap ng resulta yan. Naghahanap ng magandang plataforma yan. Kahit naman sa ang lugar, sa probinsya, sa school government, kailangan na ilalatag mo plataforma, hindi yung andyan ka na naman tuwing kampanya. Sesementohin mo lahat ng hindi na semento, papasemento mo yung dagat. Ang dami nyo, you will promise the heavens to the people. Nasaan ka ba nung dalawang taon at kalahati? Wala ka naman. Yung mga nandyan nagsisilbi na nakaupo, nandyan sila for how many years? For how many months na nagsisilbi? Tapos pupunta ka dito, sasakyan mo yung issues, yun ang pangkampanya nila. Kaya kung ako sa kanila, plataforma ang ilatag nyo, wag yung paninira.
Thank you, Kong. Last from my end na lang po. After 5 years, na-remove na po yung Philippines sa FATF gray list po. Philippine Anti-Money Laundering Council said it will boost investment dahil mas luluwag at least yung pagbabantay sa bansa when it comes to mga pumapasok na investments nga. Per reactions po.
Ito, i-connect ko lang sa sinabi ni Kong Ernix kanina that the President is busy defending the nation, protecting and preserving our national territorial sovereignty. No? Apart from that, this administration is also busy trying to address yung credit standing ng Philippines, kung ano yung image ng Philippines internationally. That's one of the indication that this administration means business. Because natanggal na tayo sa gray list area. Ano yung gray list, 'di ba? Ng anti-money law. So it only shows na yung trust ng international community ay bumabalik sa seryoso at magandang patakbo ng bürokrasya ng administrasyon na ito. Hindi yan nanggagaling sa sa mga political allies ng administrasyon na ito. This news comes from a legitimate international organization saying that the Philippines is no longer does not belong in the gray list of the countries na massive yung money laundering, no? So it's a positive development, and we commend this administration for really addressing that issue and removing us from that list.
Ako just to add lang, tingin ko isang reason doon yung total ban ni President sa Pogo. Because the total ban in Pogo, alam naman natin yung Pogo, yan yung web of lies and criminality. Isang dyan, yung money laundering. Ang malungkot na fact dito, yung mga involved sa Pogo, yung mga sugarol, yung mga naghahasik na mga bisyo na nakakasira ng buhay ng Pilipino para yumaman lang sila, dahil kinat na ni President Bongbong Marcos, umokay tayo sa money laundering. Ang problema natin naman ngayon na hinaharap natin, same individuals involved in illegal gambling and pogos. They're trying to get in government. If you would see, ang daming tumatakbo. Gusto makapasok sa pamahalaan para proteksyonan na naman yung mga illegal na gawain nila. That's why I really salute and commend President Bongbong Marcos na binan niya yung pogo, binawal niya yung mga gambling na yan, pero we should really help the President na, tayong mga botante maging matalino, wag nating hayain mapasok yung pamahalaan ng mga illegalista na mga taong to. Thank you.
Idadagdag ko lang din, no? I think from our end, yung Quadcom, ito po yung nagpapakita na yung talagang direction po ng Quadcom ay nasa tama na direksyon. Dahil we were able to unearth yung mga cobwebs nung lahat ng mga sophisticated na mga networkings ng mga illegal operators ng Pogo dito. At least nakadagdag yung tama po yung sinabi ni hindi lang dun sa immediate na pagban dahil ang presidente alam tabalagan niya na kung ano magiging effect nito at paano dapat mag-move forward ang Pilipinas without this kind of illegal industry. Pero the House of Representatives from our end, the Quadcom, was able to at least come up with an institutionalized policy that would really deter the coming in or the resurrection of these illegal activities like Pogo.
Thank you, Earl. Let us recognize Bibian Gulia from ABS-CBN 2.
Follow-up lang po dun sa question ni Earl kasi nabanggit ni Kong Zia kanina, si Presidente ay walang lining, wala kayong nakikitang lining na maging diktador. Sabi ninyo, he's very diplomatic, respects separation of powers. I wonder lang kung meron ba kayong nakikita ng mga leader na may leanings na maging diktador?
Nakikita sa ngayon? Kasi ako, hindi ko naman pinofocus yung aking observation talaga on individual leaders sa ngayon. I'm trying to at least believe that our leaders right now are really focused on how we can improve our lot. But there are certain, since nagkakaroon election kasi tapunan ito ng political propaganda. Oo. for me personally, I would say that those people who have been in power and yet used their power to censor perceived political enemies has the tendency of a dictator.
Taong bayan po ang magdidesisyon dyan. Sila din po ang magpapaupo kung sino man ang mga susunod na leaders ng ating bansa. At naniniwala ako na ang taong bayan alam nila kung paano mamili ng tamang leader.
Okay, move na po ako dun sa updates on impeachment. Kasi parang nung mga nakaraang meeting ng prosecution panel, I saw na may mga sumasama po sa inyo. Updates lang po sa preparations.
Yes. Yung prosecution panel, actually we're not part of the prosecution panel, but as far as we know, they are doing their best in preparation for the upcoming trial sa Senate. At the end of the day, I'm sure both parties are preparing. So, yung impeachment trial kasi sa Senate, it's a good opportunity na marinig yung dalawang panig eh. So, I think it's the most democratic process we can go for. That's why both parties should really be prepared. And I think they're doing that. Thank you.
Saka the prosecutors have been granting interviews naman with the different radio stations, sa social media, sa mga forums. So, I guess on our part, yung mga young guns na nandito sa harap ngayon, ano naman po kami, we've been, gano'n ba tayo katagal dito sa young guns, schedule natin ng Monday. So, yung trabaho po natin to keep the public informed at saka yung mga different programs din namin aside from the political situations, meron din kaming updates, meron din kaming mga local na programs. Ganun pa rin po naman yung on our side, on our end. It's better po siguro sa yung preparations, sumagot na rin po yung mga may interview na prosecutors on how they are handling it right now. Pero definitely, preparations pa rin po. Nasa preparation stage po sila.
Yeah, I think yung sa prosecution team, by the time that the House elected them as member of the prosecution team, they were already had initial meetings with yung possible na in potential legal assistance na makukuha from other law firms. No, I think that's one of the things that they also are trying to navigate on how they can improve how well they would present their evidences once the impeachment court convenes. So sa ngayon, they're still waiting for the actual timeline when the Senate will actually convert itself into an impeachment court. But itong mga cases ay mga impeachment articles of impeachment, I think sa ngayon they have already assigned, but I guess it's proper that you ask the members of the prosecution team. Pero ang alam ko, they have already somehow assigned individual prosecutor to the 7 impeachment articles para yun nung magiging kumbaga division of labor nila kung paano nila i-approach ang pagpapresenta ng ebidensya sa impeachment court.
Also, Senate President Escudero said the Senate needs special session to start VP Duterte trial. The Senate cannot hold a special session on its own. And in relation to that, representatives from the Makabayan bloc are urging the President to immediately call for a special session of Congress to enable the Senate to convene as an impeachment court. Are you joining this call?
I think we should not directly involve the president in case of the impeachment. That's my opinion in matters relating to impeachment process, because this is entirely within the scope and mandate of the Congress, as the Constitution says. I tend to lean towards the opinion, legal opinion of one of our prosecutors, Congressman Lawrence Defensor, when he describes the impeachment process as sui generis, unique of its own. Dahil hindi naman ito legislative na trabaho, ito ay something else, ito ay paglilitis sa isang nasasakdal, in this case, the Vice President of the Republic. And number two, meron naman sa Constitution that once the President declares martial law, it does not need for President to actually convince the Congress into a special session. The Congress can actually convene itself directly special session para pag-usapan, halimbawa yung martial law. I don't see why this cannot be applied the same with the impeachment court since it is sui generis, it's not really connected with the legislative function of the Congress. So I disagree in this case, no, with the position of the Makabayan Bloc. Mga kaibigan ko naman sila na sana wag na natin directly na involve ang presidente because sinasabi ho natin we should maintain impartiality of the court. We should not be using anything or anyone or any organization to influence the senator judges on how they would approach and appreciate the merits of the impeachment cases that would be filed. The more that we should disallow the president to involve directly kasi kailangan ho natin, baka sabihin naman ng mga kritik na yan, kritiko ng ating pamahalaan, na pag ang presidente ang mag-request ng special session, baka sabihin nila it would translate into influencing the senator judges at baka sabihin naman nila ito'y political move. So, ang position ko dyan is we should not allow the direct participation of the president. It is the sole mandate of Congress, meaning both houses of Congress, to approach the case of an impeachment process.
Ako, I'll reiterate my statement nung huling nag-press con tayo. It's really yung bola nasa court po ng Senate. It's really with the hands of the Senate. Maraming opinion, maraming iba't ibang opinion coming from different sides, pro or anti, yung mga legal opinion. Yung bola po talaga nasa Senado. So that's the way I see it. That's how ganun lang kasimple po, that's how simple it is. Nasa Senado po yung bola. Nasa sa kanila kung isushoot or ipapasa.
Last na lang po. Yung statement naman ni Senate Minority Leader Coco Pimentel and actually na may medyo along the lines din yung sinabi ng isa sa framers ng Constitution, Attorney Christian Monsod. They said that pag sinimula ng trial in July, it goes against the Constitution because merong forthwith mandate daw ang Constitution. Your thoughts lang po.
Ako yung statement ko kanina about the impeachment, parang yun na talaga yung, my mind is set on that, na nasa Senado po yung bola. So, it's up to them kung paano po nila i-handle yun.
But do you think the senators will be violating the Constitution if they do not start immediately?
Hindi po importante kung anong iniisip ko eh. Ang action po nasa sa kanila. So, I leave it to the Senate and the wisdom of the Senate.
Thank you po.
Thank you. Next, Marian Enriquez from TV5.
I would just like to follow up on that sa question po ni Vivienne. Kasi some lawyers po, mula dun sa naunang tatlong grupo po na naghain ng impeachment complaint against VP Sara Duterte are saying na may violation nga raw po itong ginagawa ng Senate sa pag-delay ng impeachment trial because there's a constitutional command for the Senate to convene forthwith and that shall means mandatory. It's a command, which is a special mandate of the Senate. So what's your stand on this? Tingin niyo po ba merong violation po?
Yes, there are a lot of legal opinions saying this and saying that, no? Marami pong mga abogado, mga legal luminaries na you would see whether they are pro or whether they are against the impeachment process. But more than the issue of legal interpretation of the word forthwith, I guess it only speaks about the demand of the people to hold the vice president accountable to her actions. No, it's more on the demand and the clamor of the people that indeed kailangan magkaroon na ng impeachment process. I guess the messaging that I'd like to look at, no, apart from all the various legal interpretation, is we agree, the country agrees. Meron pa nga pong supported by the SWS and Okta Research, the country says that it's really time to hold the impeachment trial.
Sakyan ko lang ulit. Sabi ko nga, yung kapitbahay nga namin may opinion din eh. Lahat na masasalubong ko may kanya-kanyang opinion. Legal, personal, or kahit anong opinion yan. But again, sabi ko nga, nasa mga kaibigan at kasamahan natin, nasa Senate na po yung bola.
Lahat sinasagot mo na. Hindi, ano lang, ako lang kasi, forthwith nga eh. So without delay at agad-agad, I don't understand why hindi ko talaga maintindihan bakit there's room for interpretation. Maraming excuses na pwedeng gawin, maraming magaling, gaya nga na sinabi ni Kong Pao, pati yung kapitbahay nila may opinion. But the end of the day, ang dali naman kasing intindihin. When you say forthwith, agad-agad. And this is not really for or against anyone. The impeachment process, the Senate acting as an impeachment court, is a venue for both parties to be heard. I think it's the most democratic and fair process, kaya nga nasa saligang batas yun eh. So there's no reason para harangin o siraan o gamitin pa sa politika. Let's follow our Constitution at our sentido común na pag sinabing forthwith, agad-agad.
Thank you, sir. Sundutin ko lang po ulit yun dun sa accusation nga po ni former President Rodrigo Duterte kay PBBM saying na, yun nga po, veering towards a dictatorship po itong admin kay PBBM. Yet his daughter, VP Sara, said in an October 2024 press con, sinabi niyang si PBBM hindi marunong maging presidente yan. Your comments po.
Yung sa statement ng dictatorship, no, ni former president, fake news alert. Fake news po.
Kay Congressman Adyong, sir, si Lanao del Sur Governor Datu Mamintal Bombit Alonto Adyong Jr. has endorsed the re-election bid of Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa. Do you share the same views?
We may be brothers, but we have our own opinions naman talaga eh. I mean, he has entitled to also endorse anybody, any candidate that he feels fitting to assume the office of senator, no. Yun po yung kanyang position. I think the governor was coming from the issue on. I mean, he's coming from in a place where Senator De La Rosa once became student of the Mindanao State University. Meron talaga silang engagement before when they were in college. So I think that's where the governor was coming from. Magkakaiba-iba ho kami ng kanyang opinion sa pagdating sa kung sino i-endorse. But I respect his decision, and I think he's entitled to endorse anybody he thinks is fit to become senator. Let's just leave it at that. I respect the decision of the governor. Mine, I have my own choices for senators. I have my own choices of senators. Okay? At saka, gusto ko lang ding sabihin na member ako ng Lakas. CMD, yeah.
Thank you, Marian. Joy Cantos from Filipino Star ngayon.
Wala pala. Sir, what would be the consequences if the Senate President continuously procrastinating his action towards VP Sara's impeachment with his too many excuses for not doing things on time. Ano po mga possible na maging next move nyo? Yung consequences din po, sir, for dilly-dallying in the issue.
Well, si Senate President Chis Escudero, siya po ang leader ng Senado. So, yung move niya po na ganyan, yung statements niya po, yung mga sunod-sunod na press con niya, that's under his leadership. So, kung may positive side, kung may negative side, hindi naman po natin makokontrol yung reaksyon ng tao eh. But again, sabi ko nga po, that's under his leadership. Siya po ang titimon dyan. So parang halimbawa, ako kunwari ang Speaker ng House of Representatives. Kunwari lang huwag kayong mag-expect. So kunwari ako ang Speaker. Lahat po yan, yung mga actions ko, lahat po ng diskarte ko, syempre, may kaakibat po na positive, may kaakibat din na consequences. So, if it's under your leadership, if you think it's best, then you have to go with it. Kailangan mong panindigan yung decision mo. Anything na sumunod after that, kasama po lahat yun sa totality ng mga decision sa mga ginagawa natin. Yun lang po.
Since nababas na po sa social media si Senate President Escudero, could you tell your Senate counterparts to stop lagi-gagging and get to work?
Yung bash po kasi, ang hirap na ng bashing ngayon dahil puro fake accounts na po yung mga nambabash eh. Kahit nga po ako, binabash ako eh. Minsan po kasi, fake news na nga, bash pa. Biro mo sinasabihan ba naman ako, napakagwapo ko daw? Siyempre, hindi naman totoo yun.
Totoo naman, sir.
Aminado naman ako, kaya nga hindi ako nag-artista eh, kaya nagpolitiko po ako. Pero ang ibig ko sabihin, we are now in a world of where everyone is connected. We have our cell phones, we have our gadgets and devices, and anyone can state their own opinion, kahit ano po yan. So, parang nagiging ano na nga po eh, nagiging normal na nga po, nanonormalize na nga po yung bashing. 'Di ba? Kaya nga po minsan sinasabi natin na dapat no bashing, ganun. Pero at the end of the day, ang gusto lang po natin is yung accountability, saka syempre, no to fake news tayo. So, again, ma'am, to answer your question, it's all part of the territory. It comes with the leadership position. Kahit ano pong position yan, kahit kapitan, kagawad, SK, Senate President, Speaker, Presidente, kasali po lahat yan sa decision making and it's part of the territory. Kailangan po natin talagang panindigan yun kung ano man ang ginagawa natin. So that's my take on that.
Sir, with regards naman po dun sa fake news, sabi po ng company ex-president PRRD, depend daw po nila si Jun Abines, yung vlogger sa Cebu naman ni yung bahay. Do you think it's okay na i-depend yung man with such tomfoolery behavior? Nag-spread na nga ng fake news, mga kabulastugan, i-depend pa po ba sa court yun? Mag-prepare po daw sila sa legal battle. On your part po, yung CIDG po ba, willing kayo to support them kung kulangin po yung mga lawyers nila?
Ma'am, we will not get involved. House of Representatives nor any of us will not get directly involved in this case. It's just a personal General Torre filed that complaint as a citizen of this country, and the other party would also have, under our constitution, would also have a entitled to any defense. Kung sino pong susuporta sa kanila, welcome po yun. So let's put it that way. But kami, ang sinasabi ko po, nasa tamang lugar po si General Torre.
Okay.
Saka lastly, siyempre sa House, no to fake news tayo dito. So, we will never support fake news sa House of Representatives.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Joy. Are there any other questions from our media colleagues here? If there are no questions, we will entertain opponent question from Edgen Olikino of Daily Tribune. Is there a discussion in the House to urge President Marcos to call a special session? According to former Senate President Drilon, only the President has the sole authority to order Congress to convene outside its calendar. Although there is a similar pending petition in the Supreme Court, former Senator Drilon says the High Court has no power over the Senate. Senate is a co-equal branch. So kung i-order man nitong mag-convene ng Senate as impeachment court, pwede raw po itong in disregard ng Senado. Any comment?
Ako lang, as far as yung question ko, may usap-usapan sa Congress para i-urge si President Bongbong Marcos. Wala. Hindi na papag-usapan yung pag-urge. And it's my humble opinion na like yung sinabi ni Kong Z, na dapat hindi makialam si President Bongbong Marcos in terms of dun sa impeachment process. Kasi yung sinasabing calendar, legislative calendar yun iba naman tong impeachment So I don't think, it's in my humble opinion na paanong mangyayari na si President Bongbong Marcos lang ang pwedeng gumawa ng hakbang para mag-proceed yung impeachment court ng Senate in convening, di parang nakaasa na naman yung Senate sa iisang tao, sa Pangulo. Sinabi na nga ng Constitution na sole responsibility ng Congress and the Senate to do the trial of any impeachment. So it makes no sense na i-involve natin ang Pangulo para sa ganon.
Ako, sa response to that, I still maintain my position that we should not allow the direct intervention of the President when it comes to the issue of impeachment process. Dahil unang-una, ang sa akin lang po is this is entirely within the ambit and powers of the Congress. We should insulate any form of influence that that people may think na baka yung kritiko baka magagamit na naman na influencing the Senate and the impeachment process as a whole. And I tend to agree with Senator Drilon nung sinabi po niya na may separation of powers actually, judiciary, executive, and legislature. Para yung purpose po niyan is to avoid any possible constitutional crisis that may happen. I guess the separation of powers also speaks about restriction on each of these branches of government should not encroach on others' mandate. Sinabi naman po talaga sa Constitution, according to Senator Drilon, and I agree with him, that it's actually the job of Congress to approach and impeach in cases of impeachment. So it's a sole prerogative of the Senate now, since na-transmit po sa kanila ang articles of impeachment, kung paano po nila bubuksan o umpisahan ang impeachment process. So ako agree po ako dun sa sinabi ni Senator Drilon in one of his interviews na ang sabi actually nakikinig ako doon, interview niya yun kay Ted Filon, sabi niya that the Supreme Court should dismiss all this petition questioning the Senate yung petition for mandamus, etc. Sabi niya dismiss na yan because in fact it's spelled out in the Constitution clearly that it is within the mandate and within the powers of Congress. So, yun po yung aking position diyan na naniniwala po ako doon sa legal opinion ng dating Senate President at naging Secretary din po ng Department of Justice Senator Franklin Drilon.
Thank you. Before we end our, do you have another question? Okay, Rosalie Cos from UNTV.
Opo.
Go ahead.
Hingi na rin po namin yung reaction nyo sa statement po ni SP Cheese. Sabi niya po kasi instead of pressuring the Senate, maghanda na lang daw po yung House ng ebidensya para po sa pending impeachment trial. At saka po, sabi niya rin po ito, before telling us to hurry, they should answer simple questions. They did not rush themselves. Now that the complaint is filed, they're rushing excessively. They have no moral basis to take such a position.
Well, una po, it's not really, the House did not file for petition for certiorari. There's no filing of mandamus from the House. It was initiated by Number one, a group associated with the Vice President. Number two, it's entirely an individual private citizen who filed for the petition of yung mandamus, no? For mandamus sanctuary yung kinano. So, kung titingnan po natin yung what transpired since the since the transmission of the articles of impeachment to the Senate, ang position po ng House of Representatives is very, very consistent. We will work according to the timetable of the Senate. We will prepare for the impeachment trial once it begins. So hindi po nag-iiba yung position ng House of Representatives on in particular ang prosecution team. We will still maintain our respect to our co-equal chamber, the Senate. Ang sinasabi po ng mga members ng prosecution panel every time they do interviews, yung kanilang opinion and how they would define the word forthwith, because apparently ang dami pong opinion yan. They are just sharing to the public what they think according to their opinion, what they think what they think is the intention of the framers of the Constitution when they included that word forthwith. And so again, we maintain our position that we will work according to the timetable that would be set by the Senate should they convene or once they convene into impeachment court. Wala pong pressure nanggagaling sa amin. Ang pressure po ay sa taong bayan. Sila po ang nagtatanong. The prosecution team is merely responding to the questions of the public.
May stand na ako kanina. So, I would like to agree with the statements of AML Zia.
May follow-up ka pa? Okay, thank you. Before we end our press conference, we invite our distinguished guests to share their final statements.
Okay, maraming salamat. Again, maraming salamat po sa pag-join niyo sa amin dito sa press briefing na ito. Kasama po ang aking mga kaibigan sa Young Guns, ang aking mga partners, si DML Paulo Ortega ng La Union at saka si AML Ernix Junicio ng Maynila. Gusto ko lang pong ipaabot sa aking mga kababayan, lalong-lalo na po sa mga Muslim communities dito sa ating bansa na itong greetings po na advanced Happy Ramadan po sa ating lahat.
My fellow countrymen, sa mga nakikinig po ngayon ng aming press con, and my fellow public servants po, saka yung mga tumatakbo po na kasama namin, parang kami na tumatakbo po ngayong eleksyon. Sana po pairalin natin ang plataforma kaysa paninira ngayong eleksyon at napaka-importante po yan na maging ehemplo po tayo sa susunod na henerasyon at sa kabataan. At sana din po, no to fake news po tayo. Thank you.
Friends from the media, marami pong salamat sa oras na nabigay niyo sa amin. We hope that we were able to answer questions and queries na galing po sa inyo. Again, nais ko lang batiin yung mga batang tundo na kasama ko kanina. At sila Chairman Randy Pancho, at saka yung mga ibang chairman dyan. Thank you very much. See you again tomorrow. Maraming pong salamat.
Thank you, House Deputy Majority Leader and La Union 1st District, Representative Paulo Ortega, the PIP, House Ad Hoc Committee on Marawi, Rehabilitation and Victims Compensation Chairman, and Lanao del Sur 1st District, Representative Zia Alonto Adyong, and House Assistant Majority Leader and Manila 1st District, Representative Ernix M. Junicio Jr.